It was Orson Welles who said, "I don't know anything about art, but I know what I like." And that quote fits well with me. But in this video, when I refer to art, I mean painting and sculpture, not theatre, dance or music, etc. Back in the days when things used to be open, in the before times, I love going to art galleries, looking at work where it's clear that the artist has spent time and effort and has immense skill to create their art pieces. But I have no time at all for the types of modern art where someone has shat on a pile of bed sheets and says it's a narrative on the capitalist society. Many years ago, I went to an exhibition for students who were graduating from art school, and something that became clear is that only around 30% of them possessed any real talent. The remaining 70% were there because mummy and daddy had paid for them to be. In effect, these were parents who, despite putting their offspring through the most expensive private schools, found that their little darlings were no good at English or mathematics or science or history, and found themselves thinking, "Little Sebastian loves eating crayons. He's so artistic." So at this exhibition, there was an artist who was a young bloke wearing a beret and a camo jacket, rocking that Che Guevara look. But he was also wearing a floral patterned skirt and white Wellington boots. So I was stood there thinking, what have you come as then? And his final piece was a broken Nintendo Game Boy in a shoebox. That's the culmination of 3 years at art school. Sorry if I sound a bit bunged up, it's fucking freezing. So anyway, some of the professors were fawning all over this young artist, saying his work was dynamically minimalistic. So it transpires all you need to do to become a rising star in the art world is to have your parents make a large donation to the right charity and dress like a twat. And I recall another artist who was a very angry young woman, and her final piece was meant to represent the oppression of women in a misogynistic, male-dominated society. And it consisted of 3 photos of her with her tits out. So, this artist was stood there seething, explaining angrily to all and sundry the message behind her art. And I kept looking at her, then at the photos, then back to her, and all I could think was, she's got a cracking rack. I bet they've been spunked on a few times. It's amazing I'm not the arts correspondent for The Guardian. But the reason I'm talking about art is there's a new sculpture in Brazil. It's cut into the hillside over 100 feet long and it's called Diva. And it's meant to be a vulva. I'm not a doctor, but for any ladies who may be watching, if yours is that colour, seek medical attention. But this vulva sculpture is 33 metres long, 16 metres wide and 6 metres deep. And we've all known a girl like that, but according to the sculpture, Juliana Notori, it represents society from a female perspective, femininity itself and what it is to be human in a non-human world. I'm struggling to make that connection. The sculpture is made of resin poured over steel reinforced concrete. So at some point in the construction process, a bloke has backed up to it in a cement mixer, unloaded 15 tons of rapid hardener, whilst other blokes drop steel rods into the liquid concrete and smash it flat with shovels. What a perfect metaphor for femininity. And due to the complex folds of the piece, most of it couldn't be done with an excavator. It had to be dug out by hand, taking 20 men 11 months. So that's one vulva that's had 20 different blokes in it inside of a year. Again, we all know a girl like that. But the guys doing this work weren't artists. They were builders and landscape gardeners, and I imagine that must have led to some awkward nights down the pub. Imagine being in the local boozer. There's some guys talking about how they're landscaping the new golf course, others are working on renovating the local tower blocks, but these poor sods have to say they're working on a 100-foot artistic interpretation of a lady's undercarriage. And I think there's a business opportunity for anyone who wants to make the sculpture seem even more authentic whilst making themselves some money. Open up a fish stall next to it. But however people choose to interpret this strange new artwork, I think I know its true purpose, because here in England, cut into the hillside, we have the Cerne Abbas giant. No one is entirely sure when it was made or what it represents. Many people think it's a fertility symbol. But what is undeniable is it's a man with a massive lob on. And now there are some huge lady parts in Brazil, so finally this guy can get a shag. And that brings to an end this tasteful and informative video. Thanks for watching.